Good afternoon, everyone. I've got 15 minutes, and I've run away from another function. So before they notice my empty chair, I'll try and fulfill this. When I was asked to come and speak, I thought it was, of course, a privilege. It's always a privilege to share what you have to give to other people. And I hope my experiences and what I've learned about life and what you can do about your own and what I'm trying to do with mine, will come together and we can help each other. Let me start by saying, who is a creative here? Are we all creatives? We're all creatives here. I don't think there's a human being who isn't, actually. But there are some of us who have made that our life purpose, to be creative. I'll start with a few things that I think I want you to take home. One is that everything and anything that is you and which happens to you is yours, okay? You own it, all right? And you can use it. You can use it and you can choose how you use it. So whether you are, someone who might even have a physical disability, or you might be someone who has lost parents, or whatever it is, it's you. It's yours. Those are your resources to use. The good things and the bad things are both for you to use. So when something happens to you and you think, why is this happening to me? It's a resource. Don't be discouraged with anything that happens to you. It's for you to use. That's the plan. So always look at anything that happens to you and anything that you have as yours to use. That's the only way you will make your way through life, through difficult times, and with everything that is you and that you have. Okay. So even the length of your hair, whether it grows or it doesn't grow, it's yours. It's for you to use, okay? Your voice, Kamiza has a voice that I wish I had. He has used his voice to make an impact and do what he loves to do. He was given that voice, and he has taken it, and he uses it. And his height, of course. He can make us all submit to what he wants because he's so tall. But yeah, it's part of who he is. So anything and everything is yours. It's your story. It's what you have to give to this world. And do not have any apologies about anything that you are and anything that you have. That you're a woman is a plus. That you're black is a plus. That your hair doesn't grow, it's a plus. Everything is for you. That's what God gives us, everything. And he gives us everything. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about my working history. I didn't go from job to job. I basically walked into a job which was with a big mining company. And the first day that I walked into the job is when I realized what I had actually gotten myself into. You know, when you're making applications, it's, I want that job, yeah? Then I walked into that office that they'd given me, and I looked around, very nice office. I looked around and I thought, I will be spending 8 hours of every day in this room with these people every day. I have one window behind me and one door in front of me, and 8 hours of every day. This is what I'll be doing. And I thought, actually, that is so not me. I'm not going to do that. But what I needed to do, because I'd never worked anywhere, I was straight out of university, I thought, okay, let me learn how to work. You know, when you're small, you just say, where's your father? You know, you don't really know what happens kunchito, right? So I figured I have to find out what happens Kunchito so that at least I know what Kunchito is. So fortunately for me, I was in a company that was very well structured, really brilliant systems, so I learned. And I had given myself a timeline. That is not what I was going to do all my life. And it was the kind of company where you had big events and people were given watches and bicycles because they'd been there 20 years or 30, you know. And I look at these people and I thought, nah. I don't think I want that bicycle or that watch. I am getting out of this. So after being there and doing quite a bit of learning, for me it was really a learning situation, I left. And I didn't sort of say, okay, no, I'll leave after, this, everything is in place, then I'll leave. No, I just left, actually. Because this is another thing I want you to understand, that sometimes you cannot afford to wait until everything is in place, yeah? It doesn't happen like that. There's always something that is not quite there. And if you're going to say, no, maybe I'll move next year when this is in place, you will stay in that place. So sometimes you just have to leave because you said to yourself, I needed this, I've got it, let me go. So I left. Basically all I had was my car. Nothing else. I had nothing else. And I'm telling you this because I didn't have anywhere to live. So I'm out. I'm a creative. And this is another thing that I want you to understand. That when the important thing about everything that we have and what we have is that you can create something out of that. Yeah? Create something for yourself, by yourself, out of what you have. Yeah? All I had was that I had learned a lot about organizational development, systems and stuff like that. I had that. I had learned about communications and so forth. So what was I going to do? The things that I had to use those things. So I set up my own company and started using the only thing I had, really, my brain. And my grandmother always used to say this, whenever you ask her a question, she just tap you. Use your brain. So I had to use my brain. And I set up my own company, a consultancy company. And it was really about communications and organizational development, systems, structuring, and things like that. Believe me, if you just have yourself and your brain and your plan, you've got enough. Yeah? You have enough. So I set myself up, started knocking on doors. Another thing that you have to understand, you will knock for maybe 3 years. You will be knocking on doors. And each knock, and each no, and each yes, and each whatever, again, I'm telling you, is yours. Use it. You're learning. For the reasons anybody tells you no, ask why, so that you know why. Because that will help you not to say the same thing or do the same thing next time. So anyway, I did all that, set up my company, started winning some contracts. I think some of you probably know the Lusaka Stock Exchange. You know, the logo and everything. Yeah, I designed that. That was like the biggest contract. But soon enough, people start actually hearing about you. You do a job, somebody remembers you, and you start getting references, people know you, and you start building, the little CV that you're building. And please, anything that you do, put it down. Yeah? It's part of what you have. It's part of what you have. Yeah? Anything. When you read some CVs from, abroad, you find even just meeting someone is there. Yes. Because people will think, oh, if she was in a line to meet this person, she must be important, or she must be, somebody with impact. So anything, and this is why I keep telling you, anything and everything is yours. So I get to a point where now people are knocking on my door. Yeah? Wasn't easy. There were times when you sit there thinking, okay, so where's the, because and this is a learning thing, because as you start getting contracts, you start employing people and all that kind of stuff, and then you start waking up in the middle of the night because maybe 10 people depend on you for their salaries, to feed their families, to educate their children. And you have, at some point, you also have to be, I think, in a learning mode all the time. Because after a while I thought, okay, I think I can do this on my own, actually. Do I need all these people for all this, or can I just get the people when I want them? Yeah? So in the end, I thought, okay, I don't want everybody here every time. I can actually get people when I want them. And so this is something that I see young business people doing a lot. Don't rush to create overheads. Yeah? Start small. You yourself, and especially in this day and age, you can run a lot just from who you are, with what you have in terms of technology and so forth. So don't go and get rentals bothering you you can work from home. Yeah? Don't go and get an accountant who sits there doing whatever. You can outsource that. Yeah? Try and be as minimal as possible, especially at the beginning. But now, even now, you can be minimal. So don't get any unnecessary things that you don't need for your business to thrive. Don't get permanent things that bother you every month, that I have to pay this, I have to do that. By all means, stay within the law and pay your taxes. But some of those things, you don't need to. So it's a long, hard struggle. But I think the best thing that you need to understand is that if that is where you want to be, it really doesn't matter how low you go. You know you'll go up at some point. And those lows are just part of what you own, okay? Those lows are part of what you own. You'll find the ways of getting out of those lows. But the important thing is to know that you will get beyond that, because your goal is to be the way you want to be and to earn and to see the world the way you see it. So those things are just part of the resources that you're going to be given. Let me also just say, how many minutes do I have? I've got 1 minute. Let me just also say that as a person who is creative, for me, the most important thing that you can contribute to this planet, to this country, to yourself, is to create something new. Yeah? Don't just add quantity to the planet. Create something new. Create something new. I see so much, because this one is doing this, let me also do it. Don't. Think outside everybody else's box, including your own. Create something new. That's a contribution. The other thing that I want you to understand also is that we talk a lot about business. Please also think about social entrepreneurship. Yeah? I'm a social entrepreneur. I prefer it that way. Because my bottom line, in my view, my bottom line must be the benefit that goes to the people who I want to help. I have established a film school, which the EU managed. I managed to write a proposal. You need to learn that as part of your baggage. I managed to write a proposal, got €500,000 to set up a film school. My bottom line there, my bottom line for that school are the young people who come out of that school. That's my profit. That's what social entrepreneurship is. But you can still get the money you want for that. You can still make the money from social entrepreneurship, and you can still help other people. For me, social entrepreneurship is a very important thing. I see that a lot of young people like yourselves are very passionate about making a difference. So you can do your business, but do your business as a social entrepreneur so that you still help people and still make your profit. And you profit through people. Yeah? And let me just say that social entrepreneurship is now a big movement in the world. And you can certainly, I wish I had brought the person who's really trying to create that movement here, because I think we need to create a movement, because it's a really, really good way to do business. Because I know that millennials are very much about making a difference. About making a difference. So my encouragement to you is own who you are, own what you have, own your story. Every single thing about you will help you. It helps you. Secondly, think outside, create something, do something different, contribute something new to this planet, to this country. Secondly, profit doesn't only have to be thirdly, profit is not only about money, it's also about people. So you can make profit from helping people. I have now, with friends, also built 5 libraries for children. And we recently just got a grant for $800,000 for those libraries. So you can do what you want, and you can get what you want, and you can help who you want. For me, that has been my big bottom line for what I do. And I hope you will also think like that, if you're socially inclined. But my final word to you is all the best. You have everything you need to succeed. Thank you.
Just in the interest of time, I'm just going to allow just 3 questions, please. Just 3 in the interest of time. Sorry, because 1, 2, 1 more, 3. Okay.
Hi, I'm Esther, and I'm starting a career in speaking and I run my own business. But the thing I've had a problem with is that men generally respond differently to authority from a woman and authority from the voice of a man. I could say the exact same thing in the exact same mood and tone, but then because I'm a woman, I generally have that trouble of getting directives and ideas towards people. So how do you overcome that sort of, how do you want to say chauvinist, but how do you sort of overcome that male perspective of generally opposing a woman's authority?
Thank you. I think you heard in the introduction, I was introduced as the chairman of the National Arts Council. Yes. That normally gets the men settled. That is a reality. That is a reality. That sometimes you can say something as a woman, but unless a man says it, the whole table have not heard it because you didn't say it. And they'll say, oh, yeah, because the man has said it. Yeah? I think you have to take the situation in hand and imprint yourself in any situation. And secondly, I think when you know what you're doing, you have the knowledge, you have the full information, and people start respecting what you say because you make sense. People listen. It doesn't matter what your gender is. People will. What I advise, especially women, to do is to make sure whenever you're in a situation, you're prepared, you're knowledgeable, you have the information, so that people know that you know what you're talking about. And it will be their loss if they don't listen to you. So I make it a point that I am prepared, I know what I'm talking about. If I think I have a point to make, I make it. Don't think about what people will think. Yeah? If you have an opinion of if it's your turn to speak, or even if it's not your turn to speak, but you need to speak, speak. Speak. And it doesn't matter. Sometimes I'm asking a question because I don't know, but I will say, it's the village idiot that taught the village how to make beer, isn't it? So even if my question is foolish, people will learn from it. Don't fear. Don't be intimidated. As women, and I'm telling you young women, don't be intimidated by your gender, yeah? By the other gender. But be informed. Be informed. Make sense, have the information, and be knowledgeable about what you're talking about. And they will respect you, whether they like it or not. They will. But let me say that, recognize that that situation happens, and deal with it when it does happen, because it happens all the time. It does. But the more you prove yourself, the less your gender matters.
Alrighty. I'm Camilla, and I must admit, I've developed such a huge woman crush, because I am a social entrepreneur. And I just wanted to ask, you've mentioned quite a number of achievements and funding that you've gotten to achieve what you want to achieve. And I want to know, what are the key things that got you there? What do you believe are the key things that got you there that any young woman entrepreneur should take note of?
Okay. I think the main thing, which I admire so much of you people and your generation, the one thing that is so important and which you all have access to is information. Yeah? Learning about what it is that you want to do. Exploring that thing and learning about it and being confident about it gets you where you want to go. Yeah? And in this day and age, I'm told that if you spend 10,000 hours on one subject, you will be considered an expert. Yeah? So you can become an expert in your bedroom. You just need to sit there and get the information. Be informed. One, be as wide-angled as possible in terms of the things that you get involved in, that you can do. You learn much more. That's why I didn't want to stay in that room, in that building. I wanted to experience so many other things. Yeah? Get involved. There are some things that you will get involved in that don't even pay you, but be there. Experience it. Learn something from it. Learn, learn, learn. I think my journey on this planet, one thing is I have to learn. And I learn all the time, because that's what gets you to, to places. You can hold your own. You can talk to people from very different backgrounds. So learn as much as you can about what you're interested in, but also about what other people are saying is interesting, so that you can hold your own. And I think it's just being very, very clear about what you want to do. I've been very clear that I didn't want to stay in that office, that I wanted to help, and that I wanted to do it in the way that, for me, allowed me to be creative. And those are the three things I think that have guided me. And I've done things. I remember the first time I was writing a play, I didn't even know what a scene was. So I went to ask somebody, what's a scene and what's an act and what's, And they told me, they said, oh yeah, a scene is this, and then, okay, so I'm going to try this out. So I went and tried it out. And I wrote a play, epic. I didn't even do a one-man play. It was an epic play. It had 72, characters. But it won 4 awards. That was my first attempt. But what I'm telling you is that explore things and just do them, try things. We tend to hold ourselves back when maybe we can. Yes, you can. Yeah?
Thank you so much. My name is Paul Shingongo. I must state I've been following you keenly, your input to society. I wanted to find out, you talked about social entrepreneurship. I run an NGO. You mentioned that you did some proposals to do with film making, as well as a library. How do you manage to get the needed funds after you draw up the proposal?
Okay, one thing is that you need to know how to write proposals. So put some energy into that. Huh? Put some energy into learning how to do that. And then you need to find people who can also help you if you don't know. Yeah. When I was doing the proposal for my film school, I actually got someone who knows the EU system to sit with me and write that proposal. Yeah. Because from the outside, you don't really know what they want to, So get someone who knows how to do it and do it. The beauty about that I have learned is when you ask for funds, it allows you to cover everything without having headaches. And therefore, I can say, oh, I've got a film school, there's a library, But all those things I'm talking to you about are fully funded, and so we've employed the best people to run them. So I've got general managers for the film school, marketing manager, accountant, PR, everybody's paid for, right down to the guard. For the libraries as well, everybody we employ is fully paid for. But I talked about social entrepreneurship, and those things have to run like a business as well. For the film school, we managed to get more funding to turn the school into a business, because that's the ultimate. That's the ultimate, yeah? So if you're going to write proposals, and by the way, an NGO is not the same thing as a social entrepreneur venture, because that venture has to make money, yeah? So get the expertise if you don't have it. Get the expertise, ask someone who can help you to write those proposals so that you get the money that you want. Ultimately, what you want is also to have a good exit from that funding so that you're not stuck when it's finished. Yeah. Thank you very much. I've been chased off the stage.